of what that looks like, and then we will connect with Professor Jampo as advertised, and we'll get into the matters some more. Now, William, again, good morning.
Good morning.
We're sinking our teeth into this one, although we have talked about this to death, if you will.
Yes.
So if you are feeling fatigued with this particular topic, I don't blame you at all. All the calls for the size of government to be reduced and for the office of the presidency staff to be reduced hasn't really been listened to, and there's no indication really that that's going to change. We've made the calls. Everybody has made the call, but I don't think this is something that we can continue to harp on if there doesn't appear to be much movement. Should we concentrate our efforts elsewhere, or should there still be an ongoing clarion call for the size of government to be reduced, for some of the presidential staffers to be reduced? Should we be impressing on government to let us know exactly what the roles are, or will this information that has been provided suffice? William, would you say that you would want to know more than what has been provided? So, for example, if we say we have 315 other political appointees, are you curious to know what exactly these appointees do, or is it much ado about nothing? Are we seeing the cost of everything and the value of nothing? Is that what is going on?
Well, the president has said that he needed all those people to help him to deliver on his promises. But we need to situate the conversation in the right sense so that we don't also lump everything together when it comes to the people who work in government and who work in office of the president.
Right.
Because when we talk about the size of government, it's more than the individuals who work at the presidency or the presidential staffers or even the office of the president. Mm-hmm. Because the statement is saying that some people are attached to the office of the president, but they don't work from the Jubilee House.
Correct.
There's a certain number that works from the Jubilee House. So when we speak, people think that it is just the number of people who worked in the Jubilee House that we're talking about. It goes beyond that. There are other departments and even some projects that are directly under the office of the president. So those individuals will be counted as staff of the office of the president. Having said that, now you talk about the size of the government. It will include the ministries.
Correct.
And some of the ministries are already in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. Attorney General's Department, the Ministry of Attorney General and Justice is already in the Constitution. There's a need for also a Minister of Finance and the Minister of Defense, if you like. There are a few that over the years conventionally will have them. Some outside the if you like the Constitution, but all over the world they have those key ministries.
Right.
But people have said that why would we have so many ministries where we can combine a few and save money? So then that would be the conversation for now, because at the end of the day, if we have Ministry of Agriculture and we have a Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, I thought fishing, fisheries, aquaculture is part of agriculture. Then we have Ministry of Aviation, we have Ministry of Transport, we have the Ministry of Railway Development. What happened to transportation as a whole? We have Ministry of Information, Ministry of Communication. All those can be brought together. Even the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, I think it can still be subsumed under the Ministry of Arts, Tourism and Culture, because the chiefs are the custodians of our culture.
Right.
So if we have one minister dealing with them, then we are saving some money. We can afford to do all this in terms of the ministries if we have the wherewithal, if we have the money. But what we are saying is that we are not saying the president is right or wrong in having so many ministers. What we are saying is that we don't have money. And it is even not the citizens who are saying it. The president himself has said that we are in a crisis.
That's right.
So when you came in 2017, we don't know what you saw. And you established all those ministries. Now we are telling you that the kitty is empty. So let's reduce the number of ministries, which will in effect reduce the number of ministers. Now you speak of deputy ministers. I've even had a discussion where I wanted to even develop a program where we look at ministerial appointment with the host. We use the host name to say ministerial appointment with Helen Appiah-Ampofo, where you sit here and interrogate what happens in the ministries.
Right.
There are also ministries who come, some ministers who come 8 years, nobody hears anything about them. And they just fizzle out. They just make their money and go. What are they doing? The Ministry of Chieftaincy, over the years, what have they done to stop the chieftaincy disputes and conflicts around the country? We recently heard that out of about 300 paramounts, about 8 or 6 were the ones that had been gazetted in terms of succession plan. What research have the ministries done? What meetings, what engagements have they done with these chiefs, or if you like, traditional leaders, to forge ahead and then, develop their communities and also bring peace? That ministry has not done much so far as the Fourth Republic is concerned.
Right. Now
you come to the Ministry of Aquaculture and Agric. I think they should be working together, because fisheries, why would it have a whole minister? If from the beginning they thought they needed a minister to concentrate on that and develop to a point, have we not developed enough to scrap it and put it under the Ministry of Agriculture to save some money? We even had the Minister for Business Development. How could we have a minister for business development when the president had a minister for business development after the ministry and the minister had achieved what the president wanted them to achieve in terms of the ministry and the minister? He scrapped it. Now we don't have that anymore. That's what I'm saying. We have Ministry of Trade. So why would we have Ministry of Business Development? A ministry. At the point we even had a minister in charge of procurement. Why would we have a minister in charge of procurement? Why? Procurement. We needed a whole minister in charge of procurement, and we had a minister responsible for monitoring and evaluation.
Although each ministry has a unit set up to do that. Yes.
So we are not saying those ministries are not necessary, because the president and his team may have or might have had some very good reasons for setting up those ministries. But I'm saying that we are making the call because we do not have money. Because all this machinery that run the ministries, they run on money.
Absolutely.
Because you are supposed to buy them cross-country vehicles, because they are ministers. You have to traverse the whole country to see what's going on in the nooks and crannies of the country. You have to travel, fuel. So if the call is coming, we should not just situate it in the office of the president and leave the discussion. We must look at the size of government. And the size of government is not just about politicians. A lot of people are just waiting for the new government to come, and they'll be lobbying for all kinds of jobs.
That's right.
And the political hangers on. If the president is moving, how many people follow him? We have the military behind the president, we have the police behind the president, then you have some civilian security men behind the president. And these are individuals who were with him during the campaign. So after, he has to get some jobs for them. So jobs for the boys and girls, fine. But must that be at the expense of the state? If we have money and we are setting up a Ministry of Aquaculture, fisheries, to concentrate on that sector, and it's bringing us returns, and then the bottom line is how it's helping the economy. Because at the end of the day, I don't think the president will set up a ministry and put a minister there just for the fun of it. The bottom line is, how is that enhancing the economy of the republic? So, if you ask me, the argument would be that, look, there are a lot of projects that are directly under the presidency, and so they will add up and swell up the numbers. You go to the presidency, there's an office for diaspora relations, there's somebody who's in charge of religious affairs there. There's a ministry. So there's a media advisor.
That's right.
To the president. Meanwhile, there's a director of communication who has a deputy. All the press corps in this country are represented there. All the major, if you like, media organizations, outlets, they have their representatives there.
That's right.
There's somebody just in charge of social media at the presidency. So does the president need, beyond the communications team, do they need all those people just to make Ghanaians hear what the president has to say?
Which is ironic, because when it's crucial for us to have information, these guys are seemingly nowhere to be found, and you have all of them, they're supposed to be giving us information.
Yes. And one experience I had that was very tricky was you visit a ministry, the PRO, the public relations officer, is sitting there, and the minister has come in with his own PRO. So the state-appointed PRO is rendered redundant.
But still getting paid.
Exactly. And it happens. Some have complained to me and have evidence. Anybody who is listening wants to challenge, they should come forward and have the evidence. They travel around their own PROs. And
the PROs that they are coming with also will be paid by the state.
Yes, and they come with their own people. So, and recently, before the Public Accounts Committee, the Ministry of Tourism came up There were some individuals that the former minister brought to her office that were not in the payroll, but they got paid. And the investigations led to the fact that some monies that had been voted for certain projects were used to pay those people. And these are things that some of us have to, media people have to, follow up and find out what came out of all those public hearings. Because whether the discussion is about the ministries, it's about the government, or it's about the office of the president, the bottom line is that it's about public funds. And this is a developing country that is poor. We are indebted, highly indebted and poor. Now, because we have the country is swallowed up by debts, and we are still piling up the debts because people are. What's the productivity of the individual in the office of the president? That's the question.
And I think, and that's the right question, because if we have a huge staff size and they are very efficient, and by way of their efficiency, the country is moving forward, making money, then nobody will have any issue with that. But we're not seeing that productivity, and we're seeing money being lost, having to pay huge sums of money to a huge workforce. Well, the Finder newspaper kindly breaks down the numbers, and I'll quickly take a look at that. And we're still working to connect with Professor Jampo. Now, 2 ministers of state, you have 44 senior presidential staffers. So, again, 44. As to what a senior presidential staffer does, we'll need more information. 315 other political appointees. 163 work physically at Jubilee House. Now, a release issued by the Communications Directorate of the Jubilee House pointed out that that of the 361 persons who are political appointees at the office of the president, 163 work physically at Jubilee House. You have 198 working in state organizations. It explained that the remaining 198 others work in offices to which they have been assigned. Some of the organizations, according to the release, the 315, according to the release, the 315 other political appointees include special assistants, executive assistants, and personal assistants to ministers of state and regional ministers, employees in the office of the vice presidents, aides and assistants assigned to the first lady and also to the second lady, as well as employees assigned to government agencies under the office of the president. So you have, for example, the Free SHS Secretariat, MASLOC, Monitoring and Evaluation Secretariat, Zongo and Inner Cities Development Secretariat, amongst others. So that's the breakdown. But we also have 687 staff of public sector organizations. So moreover, this is what the release had to say. In addition to the political appointees at the office of the president, employees of public sector organizations assigned to the office were also included. Some of the public, these categories of staff were from different classes, including administrative, executive, record secretariats, budget, procurement, and supply chain management. So you have 687 staff of public sector organizations. That's on the one end. And then we have the 361 political appointees. So as I mentioned, you have the special aides and you have assistants to the first lady, to the second lady. And I've had the opportunity to visit the second lady at her premises, and she had a sizable workforce. I don't know of that workforce how many are part of the payroll, but she has assistants and her own workforce. So if by extension all these people are also drawing from our public purse, then there's a lot going on. That financial drain, I can see why
office of the first lady, office of the second lady. These are we give them offices, physical offices.
Yes, that's right.
And we give them staff to run their activities. They receive visitors. But I'm saying that all these things, the conversation will be, can we afford? If we can't afford, then why are we squeezing? Because we are squeezing water out of stone to behave as if everything is fine. So at the end of the day, it will come back to the same conversation. All the lists that you made, executive assistants, special assistants. It was during this republic that we started hearing about special assistants. And this is what they do, and they put individuals who are not civil servants and public servants into the public service and create confusion. And recently, CLOSAC has raised issues where they call them Guru boys and girls. You have a ministry There are professional career workers in there. A minister comes and is coming with his own team. And in the name of a special assistant, spokesperson for the ministry. Well, there's a PRO. So these are not decisions for me to take. And unfortunately, the Constitution makes it so, wide for the president to appoint so many people. So I don't know how much research we have to do into this matter. I don't know how much ink we have to put into writing about this matter. I don't know how much breath we have to spend in talking about this matter. But it is clear that if the president and his team want Ghanaians to know that he's doing something, to try and save the economy from collapse, as they claim to be doing, then they should be listening to some of these things. Because at the end of the day, if the party comes to power, there are a lot of individuals who have contributed. So the president is under obligation to, let them get some jobs to satisfy them, as the social contracts may appear to be. Now, we also talk about our foreign missions.
Right.
They're also part of the public purse.
That's right.
How much they get. Look, the foreign missions are so many. And as I sit here, I've tried once or twice to see what they do. To be frank, a few of them have gone out and done stuff. Professor Michael Kwe, when he was in India, he did a lot of things, got some agricultural inputs, some exchanges and stuff like that. But the rest of them, what did they do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis? If they are doing something, we need to know.
And I suppose by that we would have to know what their mandate is. When they go out there, what are they tasked to do?
And I think,
are they supposed to be wooing investors, bringing business,
because
projecting Ghana?
The world over, champagne diplomacy is gone. It is economic diplomacy, where everything about the economy, the ambassador or high commissioner is supposed to be leading. Ghana is producing cocoa, but Switzerland is the best or the world's leading producer of chocolates and, if you like, chocolate products.
Right.
Why should it be so? If Ghana is supposed to beat Switzerland, how is the mission in Europe? If we have a mission in Switzerland, which I know we have, what is the High Commissioner or the ambassador there doing to promote Ghanaian chocolate? Because now Ghanaian chocolate is moved beyond just Golden Tree.
That's right.
We have a number of other private, entities producing Ghanaian chocolate and Ghanaian chocolate products, or even like cocoa products. That's number one. Number two, we have a lot of things that we can produce and sell. Look at the Chinese market.
That's right.
We can't even satisfy them. The Chinese are rather coming here to mine, to fell our trees, and to do all kinds of things and then get away with. What are we doing there? So I'm saying that if there's a certain ambassador, high commissioner, who is not bringing us any economic benefits, let's take him out and bring somebody or merge the missions. So Europe is now seamless in terms of border. So why would you have one here, one there, one there, one there? Or when it's just 40 minutes from Belgium to Germany, or from London to France? Maybe you may have in some major countries because of the economic relationship, but I don't think we should have an ambassador or high commission in every country.
I agree with that. Because
of technology now, we can do a lot of these, and I'm not saying they are not necessary. Anybody listening to me should get it clear. I'm not saying they are not. We are talking now because we don't have the money.
That's right.
We move around this city and we see some of the high commissions and the missions, and we see their properties where they don't have money, and it shows. We don't have money, but ours doesn't show.
Which one have you seen? It's not really
but you
showing.
go around Accra, you see some of these African high commissions and embassies. They are very, very modest. Even the neighborhoods they live, I won't mention them, but you see them.
They've cut their suit according to the cloth that they have.
Exactly. But we, as soon as the person is an ambassador or a high commissioner, we put him in the space of royalty that we should live in. Look, go to our facility in Mill Hill in London. Palatial space.
In fact, it recently came up even in the UAE that we were renting in some of among some of the creme de la creme.
We don't have money, and yet we want to live large. You see, a country that is so poor, we are chasing 3 billion. You see our political appointees. It's not if I'm good enough to be a politician or a political appointee, I'm not speaking against that. If I get a political appointment, it doesn't mean that I won't take it if I can serve. But I'm saying that as we speak today, As we spoke yesterday and looking at tomorrow, we don't have the money. And that's a fact. I'm not saying it. Honorable Oforiatta, the finance minister, said if we don't get money by March end, and today is 31st, the economy will collapse.
And Kojo Nkrumah has echoed that. He says that if these tax bills don't go through, it's not going to look good for us.
The president said the economy is in crisis.
Correct.
These are not words that you and I have come up with. These are the managers of the economy, the president. The only one that I haven't heard him speak loudly, as I said early this morning, is Mr. Bawumia.
Correct.
Who is on the digital path. So he doesn't. So at the end of the day, if we are talking like this and we still move convoys, we still have a lot. Look, if there's an event, look at the presidential people and the government people who come there. What are they doing? What are they bringing to the economy?
And that's something that we're still examining. Time check, some 2 minutes past the hour of 2. You're still live here on 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're still working to add more voices to the conversation. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about the size of government and also that latest release talking about political appointees in the office of the president. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter. We are at 3FM 92.7. What do you make of what we're discussing this morning? Have you seen that communique? Talk to us.
3FM Sunrise.
And you realize you don't have to play with fire. Don't play with the fire. Don't play with the fire. So your mama tell you.
3FM Sunrise.
We do hope you're enjoying the sounds of Ghana as we see out Ghana month. It is the last day in the third month. And what a month it has been.
I'm a big boy, mama. I know I never ever play with fire. Fire, baby. And I now know better. You don't have to
3FM Sunrise.
Don't play with the fire. Don't play with the fire. So your mama tell you. Fire.
In place to ensure this. We must create wealth and restore happiness to our nation. We can only do this when we have an educated and skilled population that is capable of competing in the global economy. We must expand our horizons and embrace science and technology as critical tools for our development. We believe that the business of government is to govern. Ours is to set fair rules. We will provide vision and direction and shine the light down the path of our entrepreneurs and farmers.
And you want to know
3FM Sunrise.
Voices to the conversation. We're joined on the telephone by Mr. Percival Kofi Akpaloo, leader and founder of Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. I think we might have lost him briefly on the telephone, but we'll try and raise him again.
I'm a big boy, mama. I know I never ever
3FM Sunrise.
and I now know better. You don't have to play what
Now, we also have that official communique. And William, I know something has caught your attention. Before we try and raise Mr. Akpaloo again on the phone.
So the fifth paragraph of the statements from the communications directly treats Jubilee House, saying it is also instructive to note that in keeping with the established practice of previous governments of the Fourth Republic, the 315 other political appointees include special assistants, executive assistants, personal assistants to ministers of state and regional ministers, employees in the office of the vice president, aides, assistants assigned to the first lady, and so on and so forth. The question I'm asking is, why should it be in keeping with what happened in the previous governments in the Fourth Republic? I think it should be in keeping with the amount of money we have in the system to take care of these people. So because party A, B, C, D did it in the past, in this Fourth Republic, automatically President Kufuor's government must also pour out all these numbers, 315 assistants, executive. What is an executive assistant? And what is personal assistant?
And as you mentioned, what does that bring to us?
No, I mean, so if this is the reason why we have 315 assistants, then it's not a good enough reason, because we don't have the money. I thought they were going to say in keeping with the national purse and what we seek to do as a government to protect that purse. We've even reduced the number from 300 and so in the previous administrations, and we are bringing you this number, and this is what they do. But just in keeping with those previous administrations numbers, we just pour out 315 executive assistants and special assistants and aides to ministers and regional ministers. Regional ministers have chief, they have, how do you call them? They have their secretariat and they have chief directors in the ministries.
We know that this is, for the regional ministers, this is the first time that they don't have deputies, we're told. Yes. And I think...
But if you don't have a deputy and you have executive assistant. Assistant, deputy. What's the difference?
William says,
they're just changing the words.
Do the math.
Yeah. You know, if somebody is your deputy, is he not assisting you?
That's right.
If he's your executive assistant, is he not assisting you? So they've just changed the name. Because it's still a political appointee.
That's right.
He may not get all the goodies that a deputy minister may get. But I'm saying that if you go to the regional coordinating council, they have regional coordinating directors.
Right.
They are there. They can do the work of the deputy ministers.
And that's why I think your call for us to now sit down and really pick it ministry by ministry, look at their mandates, look and assess really and truly why we have these duplicitous roles, so many.
What do they do?
Sunrise.
And you want to know what could really be this fire? Well, and you realize you don't have to play with fire. Well, don't play with fire.
All right, Mr. Percival Kofi Akpalu joins us back on the telephone lines. He's the leader and founder of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well this morning. I hope you are.
Yes, we're all fine here in studio. Before we get into the topic at hand, how are things with the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG?
Oh, at the moment, the party is growing on a daily basis. We are trying to reach everybody in this country to understand what we have for them and also seeing what we can do. So, yeah, we are working. We are working tirelessly, and it's going very, very well. The party is seriously working and across the country, and people are welcoming the party, even above our projections.
And for the uninitiated, again, just before we get into our topic, what is the vision of the LPG, the Liberal Party of Ghana?
Yeah, the vision is to create jobs and to create wealth for every Ghanaian.
To create jobs and wealth.
That this is a country where we have all the natural resources that we can think of. Iron ore, cocoa, diamond, manganese, bauxite, everything you can think of. But because of mismanagement and bad leadership that we have received from time immemorial up to today, we are not able to exploit what we have to our benefit. We have entrusted everything into the hands of foreign direct investors. If you take the oil, for instance, we've given it to Tala, Anadako, Cosmos Energy, and the rest. And they brought their money to invest in the sector. So whatever we produce, 90% goes to them, and then we have only 10%. The same thing with the cocoa, gold. We produce them here, but who owns them? Newmont, Anglo Gold, Chirano, Goldfield. Now, everything in this country is being controlled by foreign nationals because we have refused to think as a people to create capital on our own, to invest. We don't even teach our children even from kindergarten to university that when you have money, you have to save and then you invest. We don't teach them. So nobody is controlling anything. Everything are in the hands of foreign nationals. Now, if you take the telecommunication sector, you know it. Who owns them? Every sector, even now the retail sector is taken over by China Mall, ShopRite, Palace, Macom, everything. So what kind of people are we?
Now you say that when you come into power, you'll be heavy on child benefits and also unemployment benefits. What do you make of critics who say that this is a good idea, it would be a great policy, but unrealistic for us, unrealistic for the times?
Oh yeah, our major concern is to create jobs and to create wealth. So every initiative that we are going to embark on will make sure the end results will create jobs and will create wealth. Now, we are introducing the child benefit and then the unemployment benefit. The idea is that we want to stimulate the economy to generate demand activity. So when you put money into people's pockets, they will buy goods and services. And when you have proper organized system, we will be able to get those money back in circulation because when you give them money, they buy goods, they will pay VAT, and then businesses will be doing better because they will be employing people to help them, and then they will be paying PAYE. The employees will buy goods and services. They will pay VAT. Companies will make profit. They will pay corporation taxes. Investors will get dividends. They will pay income tax. So the economy will be growing. Now, apart from that, we are also looking to help our young men and women who have vision to invest in them to enable them come out with what they have, because there are a lot of young people with fantastic business ideas, with fantastic brains, that when we invest in what they have, this country will go forward. Because I'm more spiritual here. When you go to the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 28, it says, at a lot of time, God will pour His Spirit on His people, and your old men will have dreams, and your young people will have visions. Now, when you have a vision, that vision needs to be supported. So we are going to set up a $10 billion job fund, whereby any young man or woman who have fantastic business idea, we will support that idea to come out. Because if you take a person like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Michael Dell, Bizot, and all the rest, they had visions, but they were supported. They gave them a helping hand, and that's why they've been able to build what they built. So over here, we have a lot of young men that have business ideas that need to be supported. So we have that in mind as a party. And also looking at things that we can produce here as import substitutions. We are going to support people to produce them. We don't need to import rice. Why should we import rice to this country? Why should we import chicken or poultry to this country? Why should we import sugar? Why should we import all these things that we can produce locally here? So we are going to make sure we also add value to what we have, like a bauxite, for instance. Turning the bauxite into the final product in packaging, in building, automated, automotive, and all the rest. We are going to make sure we add value, because you can't take cocoa, put them in sacks, put them on ship, and then go and sell them cheap. No, we have to add value and make sure we sell the final product. Not so that's the vision of LPG. LPG is coming to do things differently from what
create jobs
and doing in this country.
And create wealth. In 2020, you were quoted as saying, and I quote, "Look, anyone who tells you that Ghana has taken too many loans is ignorant. The person has no vision." The year is 2023. Given the economic climate, do you still feel the same way? Do you still have that same thought that if anybody says we have taken too many loans, then we are visionless?
Yeah, you see, if you tell me Ghana has borrowed, how much is the total debt today?
It's over 525 billion Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis, is that correct?
As far as I'm aware.
So if you convert them to dollars, it will be how much?
I don't have that figure, but it's 525 billion cedis.
Yes, so in cedis. So if you convert them into dollar, it will be $40 billion. And a country like Ghana, with all this endowment, and then you are owing $40 billion, and you call it huge debt, it means you are not producing, you are not generating revenue. That is why you see that we are debt-driven. But let me tell you something. When you borrow and you invest in producing, it's not a waste. But when you borrow and then you put the money into expenditure, that is where it becomes a problem. So my understanding that when you borrow money to invest in an economy, to build factories, you borrow money to invest in the economy, to invest in your young men and young women, to make sure they come out with what God has deposited in them. That one will bring back the money to pay whatever loan that you contracted. But when you borrow money and you invest into something that is not producing anything that can pay back the loan, that's what becomes
okay. So for clarity,
you borrow money to build roads. For instance, you borrow money to build roads, and the roads you don't have toll to. You are not tolling. Or if you borrow money to build roads, and then you don't have road tax. How are you going to pay the loan? So it becomes a burden on you.
So from what I surmise is that you say it's not the issue of borrowing, it's what you use the money for. That's what I'm gathering.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you take a company like Microsoft, their total debt on their balance sheet is over $1 trillion. So if Ghana as a country, we can only borrow 40 billion and we are crying. It means we don't know what we are doing as a people. We are bigger than Microsoft. But why? Because we don't know the value that we control in this country. That is why we are where we are. So we need to change and do things differently from the way we've been doing it. Let's start thinking of adding value to our natural resources. Why should you give all your goods to Newmont and Anglo Gold? Why should you give all your oil to foreigners? And then what are you going to get at the end of the day?
Well, just so that we have the correct... The correct figures. Ghana's total public debt stock has shot up to 575.7 billion cedis at the end of November 2022. But
it's unfortunately, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. We'll readjust and see if you can hear us a bit better. I'm also here with my colleague William, and he has a few questions, and then we'll delve into the pertinent issues. I hope you'll be able to hear us.
It's very, very... I don't know if within mine I can give another number to call me on.
Okay, we'll try. We'll try and see. William, I know you have a question. If you're unable, we'll try again.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, all the things that you've said about what we should use our loans for, these are the things that were being said in 2020 by economists, by the public, by politicians, in respect of how government was going, taking off road tolls and the rest. But you describe those comments and those people as ignorant and, if you like, visionless. Why did you describe them as such? Because now the debt restructuring program has shown that the government didn't use the money for what it was supposed to do in terms of even raking money from roads that they were constructing. But you described people who made those comments as visionless. I just want your comment on that statement that you made.
The line is very, very...
All right. Well, we'll try and reconnect there with Mr. Percival Akpalu. Yes.
Let's try.
Okay, sure. If you're unable to hear, we will reconnect. And we were just speaking with Mr. Percival Kofi Akpalu. We'll try again and see if we can reconnect with him. But you're still live here on 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
3FM Sunrise.
The phone. He's the leader and founder of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. Is the line better now? Hello.
far, far better.
Far, far better. Fantastic. Well, William will proceed with this question.
Yes, I was asking if you still describe those who criticize the government for excessive borrowing as still ignorant and visionless, looking at the fact that Ghana is now being swallowed up by debt. Thank you.
No matter. If you say we have been swallowed by debt, I don't think that swallow will. Because the amount you are quoting and looking at Ghana's potential, I don't see them that way.
Government is doing debt restructuring. It's because we are swallowed by debt. That's why they are doing the debt restructuring.
Billion Ghana to me, it's a peanut. As a country like Ghana, we have to open our mind and then do this stuff. Let's borrow and invest in the economy to create wealth. So, my friend, you know what you call OPM? Other people's money, okay? Use other people's money to make wealth. So if you can borrow money and invest in adding value to our natural resources, exploring our own natural resources instead of entrusting them in the hands of foreigners, you got to start doing it. Because that money that we borrow, whether you like it or not, you're going to pay. And if you do things well, this money will not take you in 5 years to pay off all this money. So I don't see them as anything. So let's open our mind, open our eyes, and then do things differently from the way we've been doing things. Because even if you can, 5,000 cities, and it still be big load to somebody because that's the person's ability and capability. So the amount involved to me is not, it's too small. 600 billion Ghana cedis.
Right.
When they convert them, it's 50 billion. 50 billion. Check the company, go quickly online and download the annual accounts of various companies that you can think of in the globally and see their total debt. Then you see that it's not borrow anything. It's to borrow. America, the almighty America, is owing 34 trillion USD, and their debt to their GDP is what 114%. So, what have we have to expand our revenue, our GDP. We have to grow it. That is what we should look at.
I agree, but Mr. Palu, you would agree also with me that the government is doing debt restructuring because it overborrowed. That's what people were talking about. And you describe such people as visionless and ignorant. That's what I want you to address. Do you still stick by that description as people who made those comments as ignorant and visionless?
When you borrow,
yes.
When you borrow to do this Dubai, what we call it Dubai, the Dubai Institute. When you borrow to do that one over there, Pokuate, when you borrow and then you invest into something and then halfway it's done, you've not completed them and you left them just like that. How are you going to pay back?
Yeah, that's what people were talking about.
It's not the money. It's not the amount, the quantum. It's about what we pay back. What we pay back is the most important thing.
Right.
It's not the quantum. The quantum right now, my friend, you can go to the bank and borrow, let's say, 100,000 Ghana cedis. Because you are working, and if your company is able to pay you, and then you are also able to do your side businesses and stuff like that, you can easily pay off within a short possible time. But if you go and borrow 5,000 and you are not working, how are you going to pay? So it's about we doing something to generate the money to pay. So this debt restructuring thing that we're talking about, to me, it's not about CD, it's about the dollar. But because we don't generate enough dollars in this country, that is why it's becoming difficult for us. Because all the money that we borrow them in dollars, but we are not generating the revenue to pay. Because are you getting it? Because the gold is have been entrusted into Newmont and Anglo Gold. So how are you going to pay? Your oil, you have entrusted the oil to Color Oil and Adako, Osmos Energy. So how are you going to pay?
Mr. Paul, I think you've made the point on that. We'll move on, or we'll move away from that. Now, there was a press release released yesterday, 30th March 2023. It's the annual report on staffing at the office of the President submitted to Parliament, and that's pursuant to Section 11 of the Presidential Office Act 1993, Act 463. Now, by this release or communique, we got to know that there are some 2 ministers of state, 44 senior presidential staffers, and some 315 other political appointees. This is, again, as concerns the office of the President. What do you make of these numbers? And if you were to come into power, let's say in 2025, would you maintain such a large size as some have accused or criticized the government of having large size or large number of staffers?
You see, I don't know what word I should use. You see, it's easy for you to pick a figure and say, oh, it's our bloated, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, I need to go in there, find out what role that they are playing at the presidency or whatever.
I'll break some of this down. So we have special assistants, executive assistants, personal assistants to the ministers of state and regional ministers, employees in the office of the vice president, aides and assistants assigned to the first lady, aides and assistants assigned to the second lady. These are some of the roles.
See, when the first lady is going somewhere, I don't expect that she'll be carrying her top. Are you with me?
Sorry, we didn't catch that. You said when the first lady is traveling, you don't expect her to.
Wherever the first lady is going, I don't think you expect the first lady to be carrying her own luggage and be carrying her own everything. You understand? No, because she's representing Ghana. And for that matter, Ghana must be prepared to take care of her. You know, look at when this woman just came last week or this week. What is her name? Harris Kamala or whatever.
That's the Vice President of the United States. The Vice President.
That's the first lady of Ghana. Madam, respect your own. Please, preach your own. Nobody will respect you if you don't respect yourself. Nobody. So, you have to make sure you carry your own in high esteem. Madam, this is Ghana. This is where my blood is. Everything that I have is for Ghana. I don't care about America or US.
Well, you brought in that juxtaposition. You mentioned the vice president. You mentioned Kamala Harris. And you can't compare, respectfully, Mr. Akbalu, you can't compare the vice president to the first lady.
Right. We should be able to compare. Nobody is better than you. Nobody is better than you on this planet. Nobody, no human being is better than you, my madam. You are
so, Mr. Akbalu, I wanted your opinion. I mentioned those numbers on what you think of that and what you make of the numbers.
They're all relative. Looking at the work you are doing this morning, you are 2 people hosting the program.
Correct.
But in other place, there's only 1 person hosting the program. Will somebody come and say TV3 or 3FM, you are overstaffing?
Mr. Akbalu, respectfully, we can afford to maintain the size that we have. Ghana can afford. Why are we seeking an IMF bailout, Mr. Akbalu, if we are able to afford?
The bailout, okay. I think the staff there at their president, we pay them cities, we pay them dollars. We don't pay them dollars, we pay them cities. And the city is only in this country that we calculate them. We don't calculate cities anywhere else. So the staff, we can pay them.
So you think the number is appropriate?
No. What we are not able to pay now is the debt that you have accumulated, and then they are due to be paid, and you have to pay them in dollars, and we don't have the dollars to pay. So we need to find the dollars to pay them. That is the problem. But if it comes to the city, who controls the city?
Are you aware that pension bondholders are deciding to picket again because there have been delays in the payment of bonds when they mature?
Madam, there are exercises that we have to do to make sure they get a $3 billion. So when you sleep well.
Okay. Mr. Akbalu, thank you so much for your time this morning and lending your voice to the conversation. We appreciate your insight on this one. And all the best to the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. I'm sure you're working assiduously for 2024.
Thank you, my dear. I'm working well.
Yes.
Every corner we are working.
Lovely. Creating jobs and creating wealth. We'll see you in 2024. Amazing
We will
stuff.
win the election.
All right. That was Mr. Percival Kofi Akpaloo, leader and founder of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, and he was sharing his thoughts and opinions on this. At certain points, I wasn't too sure I was following on, but those are his thoughts on the issue. He says he's working assiduously for 2024. The LPG is going to be in every nook and cranny. So for those of you who are asking for alternatives, asking to know what some of the, for lack of a better expression, smaller parties are up to, you heard from Mr. Akpaloo there on behalf of the LPG.
Well, I don't think he understands the issues. Because quite frankly, if government is owing money and it's in cedis, or dollars, how does that matter? At the end of the day, we're talking about government debt being 575 billion, and it includes all these money.
He says that one is peanuts.
Well, whether it's peanut or not, we are struggling to pay, and that's why we are having these haircuts. So if you're having haircuts, it is not for him to say that it is peanuts. It is what is on the ground that shows that it is not peanuts. If it were peanuts, we wouldn't be doing haircuts for people to pick it, to get their bonds paid.
To Mr. Akpaloo's credit, though, he did say that with regards to the loans, he says that if you simply say that one has overborrowed, you have, limited the conversation. He says to expand that by way of what have you done with that? And that I can agree with him on that issue.
Nobody disputed that. We were saying that where the government was investing the monies, the returns that were coming on within the period that the government had to pay the loans were not good.
Right.
Because if Mr. Palu mentioned that you construct roads, make money and repay your loans, and you can do that through road tolls, and this government scrapped that system.
That's right.
And that's why the government has gone back on his word or its word to bring back the tolls. So Mr. Palu cannot tell me that we did not see what we were seeing, to say we were visionless. We told the government that you cannot scrap the road toll system and make money to pay for the roads. And people who made those statements in 2020, 2021, he said they were visionless. And that's the question I was putting to him.
Well, let us know if you were satisfied with the answers that you received this morning. Do connect with us on our socials. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter. We are at 3FM 92.7. Time check. It is some 22 minutes to the top of the hour. We'll go on a very quick break. When we come back, there is more right here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace. I don't.
My name is Diana Hamilton, VG.